Oh, really? Hey everyone. Be there in just a minute. Yeah, it's a live stream. Haven't done one in a while. You able to hear me okay? Let me know. Thanks for letting me know there. All right. Excellent. Now let me figure out how to switch the scene. It's been a while. Oh shoot, I picked the wrong one. Oh, hold on. Well, you know what? I'll let it play. I haven't seen this in months. Fun time. Vienna Lager. I actually have that on tap right now. Thanks, Mitchell. It's a good night out tonight, so why not, right? All right. Yeah, it's a Prater, right? You know, I used to be in marching band. I used to play this song every year for years. Plus, it's royalty free. Oh, man. Okay, I think I've seen enough of this. All right. Okay, that's plenty of that. No more. Oh, that was a good intro. Sorry about that. Well, I know I just did an impromptu. This audio delay is killing me here. I know it's an impromptu stream, but my wife, son, and daughter are all going to be out, or are out already for the evening. It's a good month. It's a beautiful Monday night here in mid-May in northern Illinois. It's like low humidity, mid to upper 60s, no bugs or a few bugs. And I'm out in my garage instead of my basement doing the stream. I was sitting around here just kind of like, I'm watching YouTube videos and like researching and doing other things and just killing time. I'm like, I might as well do something that I haven't done in a while, which was host a live stream, right? So I hope you guys can hear the sound okay. I hope I'm not peaking. If I'm peaking, let me know. I get the mic kind of close because I'm trying to keep the ambient sounds out of here in my neighborhood. With the lawnmowers, the cars driving by, the airplanes flying overhead, all those kind of things, right? So if I'm starting to peak, let me know, all right? And it's got 14 viewers already. Wow. For an impromptu stream, that's actually pretty cool. So, yeah, so I was just sitting around here figuring I might as well go. I can't even remember the last live stream I did. It might have been at the beginning of this year, and I was really wanting to do them more regularly, monthly or whatever, but life gets in the way. Priorities are not this. This is a hobby. Hobbies are not my priority. Of course, we all wish they were, right? Too many other things going on, work, family, health, all kinds of stuff going on. Speaking of health, not my health, but for those of you who, so one of the reasons why I wanted to do a stream, and I didn't tell Clay about this yet because I just decided to do it, but for those of you who know who Clay is, he's the owner of JaDeD Brewing, and for the past couple months, he's been going through quite the ordeal. Came down with a is it pneumonia in his, well, first I think he came down with strep throat. He posted a video about this just a day or two ago on his JaDeD Brewing YouTube channel. So if you want to hear it from his mouth, go there later, not now, later, and check him out and listen to his story. But basically, he got sick, got put into a coma medically in order to save his life because he got some kind of full body septic shock infection from pneumonia that he caught from strep throat. I know, right? Strep throat, pneumonia, septic shock. It pretty much was shutting his body down, and they elected to put him into a coma. He was already unconscious when this happened to him, and so he didn't even know he was in a coma for over 2 weeks. I think he said 2.5 weeks, and they had to do all kinds of things to him to keep him alive. Drugs, injections, turning him over on his back, on his front, tubes, ventilator, all that stuff, you know, and it was really quite scary. And I actually didn't even know about it for the first several days, at least, because, you know, I keep in touch with Clay, and if he doesn't respond to IM's text or whatever, you figured he's just ignoring you. But it turns out his wife reached out to me and told me the whole thing, and so man, so I've been talking with her for like the first week, and then when he got better enough and he woke up, I saw him in the hospital, and he switched from the ventilator to one of those what do you call those things that you go in the neck there so he can breathe. He was still very weak, lost a lot of weight, near death a number of times, and it was really quite scary for him. But he woke up from this coma and didn't know a thing because he was in a coma, right? And the poor guy, oh man, so I went to go see him in the hospital because I live around, I mean, me and Clay live within at least about a half hour from one another here, right? So when he was in the hospital, I zipped, and it was awake and able to accept visitors. I zipped right over there as soon as it was possible, and spent some time with him, but he wasn't able to talk yet because he had this thing in his throat that kept him from talking. So all I can do is talk to him and keep him company. And he was still in pretty bad shape, but at least he was awake and actually coming back from his issues. And I saw him at least one more time since then, maybe a week later, and he was doing much better. He was talking, walking around slowly, weakly, hoarsely, of course, but man, what progress he made. And now he's home. As of, I think, a week ago, he was released to go home after getting something put into his stomach, like a little feeding tube, because he was still unable to eat and swallow from the whole ordeal. So he's still got a long road ahead. He's doing some recovery at home, fortunately, rather than in the hospital. And so he's still on the mend, probably for a little while yet, honestly. So, but thanks for those who are asking for updates, because I posted some comments on my social media about it, a little cryptic because I didn't know how much I could share as a non-family member to a bunch of non-family members. So, but I guess he made his own video about it, so I guess I'm free to talk about it to a degree at least. And just let you all know, thanks for your prayers. Thanks to those of you who donated to his GoFundMe account that his father-in-law opened for him. because those medical bills were high, and being a self-employed individual like Clay is, as the owner of JaDeD Brewing, his insurance wasn't that great, right? So he really could use all the help in the world to give him some cash. So if you want to go check out a post I put on my community tab on my YouTube channel, probably 3 weeks ago, go back and look for that link to that GoFundMe if you would like to help contribute to him to get him back on his feet. Because as a self-employed individual running a small business, if he's not working, which he hasn't been, he's not even getting income, let alone the hospital bills. So if you like Clay, and you like him on my videos and stuff, and you have a connection with him, just consider giving him a little money. I did as well, right? So anyway, welcome back, Clay. I don't know if you're watching this. You're probably sitting at home trying to get caught up on everything that you've missed for a month and a half. But if you're watching, hey, welcome. And actually, if you're watching, why don't you send me a text or something, just so I know that you're watching. All right. So anyway, so let's see what we got going on here. Oh yeah, Mitchell, you saw his video? Yeah, man. CT&P. Yep. Sounds horrible. He's up and around. So okay, so you got some comments here. Hey, I'm going to brew my Row Garden, because I get it, Romy. Yeah, your last name, just like my first name. That's pretty funny. Yeah, I came up with that Larry Garden as a spin-off of Larry. I told the story in some other past streamer video, but it was like the beer that got me in the, well, no, actually, it's the second beer that got me in the home brewing. The first beer was a Scotch ale. And I had a Scotch ale back in the late 90s. And back in those days, you didn't find Scotch ales in the United States. They weren't a thing, really, right? Craft brew today is much different than it was 25 years ago. And I started getting into the craft brewing. And one of the things I wanted to get into craft brewing for, home brewing, was to make a Scotch ale. And that was, I think, my second beer. Honestly, man, like 20 plus years ago, it's hard to remember, but I think my first beer was with a neighbor of mine across the street who was a former home brewer who got back into the hobby because of my interest in it, showed me how to brew an English IPA. That was my first beer with him, but my first solo beer was that Scotch ale. And so I made that, but so my third beer, my second beer that I did on my own was a wit beer style, because I love those beers. And back in those days, there was Hoegaarden and Blue Moon. There wasn't a whole lot of variety. And this was the old Blue Moon, this was the pre-Coors, pre-whatever buyout. And the beer back then was actually pretty good. Over the years, I think it's kind of gone south, in my opinion. But I was aspiring to make that style of beer. So I did years and years and years doing recipes and things, and iterations upon iterations, and finally got to the point where I was able to share it in those videos. So I'm glad you are making the same kind of thing, because it is a good spring summer beer. Actually, I was going to make some. I have a batch right here in my X2, which is kind of partially blocked by the microphone back here. But I had plans to do another wit beer, because I haven't done one in a few years. And it turns out that because of this whole Bud Light fiasco and stuff going on, I decided, you know what, I never made a light beer before. I'm going to brew an American light lager. I'm going to brew a not Bud Light clone. So what I got over here is like a very light version of the Better Than Bud Weiser beer video I put out last summer with Clay. Going back to Clay again, he was here for that. So I actually have an American light lager fermenting here. And one of the things I wanted to do this year, if I had not said this out loud before, was I wanted to brew more lagers, right? So I turned 50 last year. I've been brewing since the year 2000, so 23 plus years ago or so. And I started out with ales forever. I brewed ales for like 17 years straight, right? Hoppy beers, IPAs, bitter beers, all kinds of those things. And I got kind of burned out on it. I know it's a fad for a lot of you younger guys, or actually not younger guys, the ones who are new to the hobby, which tends to be more of the younger guys, I guess, are really into that stuff. And I was too, and I still do appreciate a good IPA. Don't get me wrong, but do I want to brew 10 or 11 gallons of it nowadays? No. I kind of want, so I've kind of swung in my interest and taste back to a more, I guess, neutral palate. I don't want anything too malty like a Scotch ale. I don't want anything too bitter like an IPA. I want something that, of course, I'm saying that now while I'm drinking my bourbon stout that I made last year. Still, that thing's still going in my keg. But aside from that, this was brewed last year, by the way, not this year. So I brewed 2 lagers so far. I'm going to brew probably several more before the year's out. I may squeeze in a wheat beer, like a wit beer or a Weiss beer or even a fruit wheat beer of some kind, maybe this summer. We'll see. But generally speaking, my taste and my palate have gone towards the more balanced beer profile. Not too malty, not too bitter, clean finish, crisp, clean aftertaste. I don't want anything loitering on my tongue on the back of my throat. Kind of like this bourbon stout does, honestly. It does kind of loiter. And just tasted it and it reminded me to let you know, for those of you who are interested in how that bourbon stout turned out, it turned out very bourbony for the first few months. It was really good, but since I brewed this in October, tapped it probably around Thanksgiving, and been drinking it ever since, and it's kind of transformed from a bourbon dominant beer to a more of a cold roasted coffee kind of flavor, which is interesting, right? There's still the hint of bourbon in there, but it tastes more like plum and roasted coffee notes and stuff. And it's changed. It's really interesting and just fascinating how beers like that can morph over time. Let's see what's going on here. Questions. Come on, guys. I want to see some comments here. And then also going back to the brew that's in the Brewbuilt. I've been having problems with that thing, as you guys saw in the video I posted about the tips and tricks about how to help check your pressure and seal your V-clamp designs. I mean, it's a really good jacketed conical. In fact, I've never had a jacketed fermenter at all, and I never had a glycol chiller until a few months ago. So this is kind of a new experience for me. I kind of like it because normally I would have to bring my beers in 5-gallon fermenters down to my basement and pressure ferment them because I didn't have refrigeration, or I have now a firm chamberator right off to my front here that I did a video on, right, where I turned a kegerator into a fermentation chamber. Well, I had to turn that back into a fridge. So right now it's a fridge for the time being. So the fact that I don't have to convert and reconvert a fridge that I'm using for multiple purposes, and it can actually rely on a dedicated glycol jacket cooled fermenter. So awesome. So despite the problems I'm having with the Brewbuilt X2, which I continue to have, I'm on the tail end of my fermentation, and it seems to be holding pressure relatively well, but it's still bubbling. So if there's a leak, it's a really small one. And I think I've kind of jury rigged this thing so it will hold pressure at around 8 or 9 PSI pretty consistently now, which is not 10 to 15. You know, I can't carbonate and serve in this, or carbonate and rack to a keg out of this thing because of that limitation. Well, I mean, I can, but then I have to carbonate in the keg afterwards. I can't carbonate in it first as a unit tank. It's really not a unit tank the way it is currently, unfortunately, because of that problem with the leaks. But it's a good conical, and I'm using it as such, and I'm giving it a try. I should have a video out sometime. Well, when this beer's done, I'll just do a full video. I know some of the other people who got this X2 have already done hurried reviews after one use, and I've kind of learned my lesson over 11 years of this stuff that I try to use it a little bit more before I do any kind of in-depth video on something, because I usually find something out later that I didn't notice the first time out. So that's just me, though. All right. But yeah, so but an update, and I put a short out, a YouTube short. If you know what a YouTube short is, I think they suck, but I thought I'd try one because I had like a 30-second message I wanted to give out, and I didn't want to produce a whole video. So I just mentioned that they Brewbuilt is looking for alternative clamps and suppliers of clamps or whatever to help improve the sealing issue with the X2 that me and others like you out there I've heard from a number of you who've had this problem. And I've actually got it to hold some pressure, but not as much as it's rated for. Yeah. But they're also working on, they said they're working on the next year's model, the X3, sometime next year, just generalizing that it's going to be using tri-clamp fittings, much like the SS Brewtech or others do, which I give it a huge thumbs up. I was never a fan of V-clamps, ever. I was really disappointed on my first unit tank, the Spike CF10 that I had several years ago, and I returned. It just seemed like it worked, but it was fickle. I mean, you can put the V-clamp on. If you don't do it exactly right, you get a pressure leak. Well, I'm not going to take a lid off in mid-fermentation or late fermentation to like seal a leak that I could. Anyway, so I didn't much care for that. I mean, so that works pretty well with the Spike brand, but this got really bad with this Brewbuilt one. It was like very unreliable and fickle. So excited to see their tri-clamp version come out soon. Let's see, what's the some questions here. Excellent. Yeah, G60 guy. Yeah, Clay's doing much better, man. I'm so glad for him. What's my favorite lager recipe I've brewed? Troy, well, I would have to say, let's see, I haven't brewed every single lager style. So that's one of my challenges this year is to go around the horn on the lagers and try as many as I can before the end of the year. But let's see, I think one of my favorites is a Munich Dunkel. I swear. I mean, this stuff looks like motor oil, but man, it is crisp, light, clean, refreshing, and delicious. And that's a fall beer for me, though. But I'd probably say maybe on par with that Munich Dunkel, or maybe even better, would be a Vienna Lager, which is like I guess I have to say this probably is my favorite beer style. So okay, so Vienna Lager, then the other one. So it's totally awesome. I've also done some domestic style lagers in the past couple of years. I did a corn-based adjunct American lager, like a MGD kind of beer, and that was delicious. I'm not a fan of Miller products, but my homemade version was killer. And then the following year, last year, I did a rice-based one that was sort of like a sort of like based upon a Budweiser. Which is way better than Bud, of course, too. And all my neighbors, family, everyone loved that. I mean, that beer went so fast. I should have made 20 gallons instead of 10. And I'm making that light rice lager right now over here, like a light version of that beer. So we'll see how that turns out. I've been tasting it in the sample port. It's pretty good. But some other lager styles. There's a local brew pub here called Pollyanna Brewing Company. And they have an ice bock, which is an ice beer, where they brew the beer and they partially freeze it and then drain off the beer that's not frozen, and it's a little higher concentrated. That was delicious. I think it won some award at that craft brewing festival or whatever recently. I think it was. Someone told me this week. So that was pretty good. My bock. I would like to do a my bock. That would be pretty good to try, but maybe I'll do that for my fall Oktoberfest party I throw, which also Oktoberfest was also on that list because that is a lager. However, this past fall, if you go back to October or maybe November when I posted the video from Oktoberfest, I brewed two beers. I brewed a traditional American style, a traditional German modern American style Märzen, right? Which is like Oktoberfest that we all know. It's kind of dark colored and sweet and sugary. And but I also brewed the more modern German fest style fest beer. My first time trying it, and side by side, left and right, all through this whole party with probably 100 people here. And by far, that fest beer was the beer everyone liked, including myself. So fest beer, add that to the list. Yep. Let's see. Yeah, that Portland gentleman. Hey, Bradley, how you doing, man? Welcome. Good to see you online. Hey, you had that problem with the previous model? Oh yeah, the X1. That's right. You have the X1. That's too bad that they didn't fix that in the X2. That's too bad. What'd you do to fix it, by the way? Or did you ever fix it? Or you just cope with it and just work with it as it is? I'm just curious because I got the problem now, and this is not going to go away until it goes away, right? I don't think so. I'm kind of stuck in this rut with it being a fine fermenter, of course, and all. It's just that I can't age in it. I can't carbonate in it, so it's not a real unit tank, in my opinion, right? Because it can't hold pressure to the level necessary to do those things. So I was just curious. My favorite hop for lagers, Mitchell? Oh, man. Depends on the beer. One other lager I didn't mention was a Helles, a Munich Helles. That's probably one of my favorite lager styles. And I use German noble hops, of course, with that. I Tettnanger and oh, geez. Why am I drawing a blank? Tettnanger, Hallertau, which is good in the ales too, like the wit beers and the like. But you know, I don't know. I've never really settled on a favorite hop for a certain style. I mean, I brew and I like to try new things because I'm always looking for that next best thing. You know, sometimes I'll repeat a recipe if I'm in a hurry and I'm brewing for a party to serve a lot of people, and it's a proven recipe. I will probably stick to that. But as I'm doing this hobby unto myself, part of the hobby is trying different things. So I go to the homebrew store and look in the fridge, maybe pick something different for a change here and there. And but that's not how I used to be. I used to be very, very rigid. I say, okay, I must use Cascade hops because the recipe I brewed with 15 years ago said I had to. Well, no, now I use Centennial, which is similar but different a little bit and stuff. But I think it just depends on the beer style itself. I use Mount Hood a lot for the Vienna lagers because the Vienna lagers, the Mount Hood is like a kind of a cousin or a derivative of the other two hop types, which are common in Vienna lagers. I have the recipe here somewhere. I just don't feel like opening up in a spreadsheet and looking at it right now. Let's see. What yeast do I use? Dry or liquid? Well, for many years, I only bought liquid because back in the day, when I used to start brewing, I'm sure there were dry lagers out there, but they weren't being sold in my local homebrewing shop. And before the days of the internet and homebrew shops online, you were kind of stuck with what you had at the local homebrew store, which were all liquid yeast, which I didn't complain about. I loved them. The only problem was that when I upgraded from a low gravity to high gravity 5-gallon batch, or doubling from a 5 to a 10-gallon batch, I'd have to do a starter thing a couple days in advance. So I had to know days out that I was going to be brewing. And sometimes nowadays my life is so hectic, I just don't know if I'm even going to brew it all tomorrow or even the same day. So so now I've been buying for the past 5 years. I started getting the dry yeast about 5 or so years ago finally. And there's so many types of dry yeast out there today that there's really no need to go back to a liquid yeast unless there's a certain yeast strain that you just can't find an equivalent for in the dry yeast, which is there's still some gaps out there. But I've been buying dry yeast when I can and where I can, and only on occasion have I done like in October. Like last fall, I did an Oktoberfest. I think I did a liquid yeast strain, but even I couldn't find an Oktoberfest strain. I had to go with a German Bock strain or something like that, I think, if my memory's correct. Only because I couldn't find the lager or the dry yeast. I'm sorry, the dry lager yeast equivalent, because the stores had all sold out because it was a popular time of year to brew that style, and everyone bought them out. So I have used liquid yeast, but my first choice is dry if I can find it nowadays. If I tried brewing a Gruit ale, oh no, no, not technically a Gruit, but I've but it's a beer brewed with herbs, right? Well, I guess if you consider wit beer with the coriander, that's an herb. I've done a lemon coriander beer before too, right? I guess they're spices actually because they're seeds, right? So yeah, okay, all right. So I'm not right, I guess. But no, I have not. Bog rich area, and you live in wild herbs suitable for brewing a Gruit. No, I have not. Where do you live, Diver Bob? Do you live in Scotland or someplace where there's? I don't know of any bogs where I live here, at least in the Midwest. I'm sure there are. I just don't know. When I think of bog, I think of like Scotch whiskey and peat and stuff. Anyway, corn and Vienna brewed together. Troy, corn and Vienna. Oh, corn and Vienna. I don't think I've ever seen a recipe like that, but hey, give it a shot, right? All a Vienna malt really is essentially 50+% Vienna malt, and some even use less. I think I heard that Sam Adams Boston Lager, which is technically falls into a Vienna lager category. It doesn't have any Vienna malt in it, or at least it didn't used to years ago. So that's interesting, right? So yeah, go for it. I've never tried it. All corn will do will like this, just lighten the flavor and color and stuff, and make it maybe a little drier. Like the drier part could be a detriment, because if you make too dry of a Vienna lager, I can see it being a little bit puckery. I just imagining. I haven't done that. Let's see what else we got here. Mitch says, okay, the Dunkel Vienna. Okay, yeah. Portly Gentleman, Bradley. That's why a full review was never published, just an overview. Oh, so you weren't happy with it. See, I know where he's coming from, because I mean, I just produced 2 videos this weekend. One I posted, one I can't post until June. Wink, wink, for certain product release that's coming up that I've been sworn to secrecy on. If you're watching, can't tell you who that is watching, but I'm sure you're watching. I can't show that yet, but other videos I haven't done. I've gotten products everywhere. In fact, I got a product, some other thermometer here and some other stuff over the years that I just thought weren't that good. And rather than putting a bad review out that gets no views whatsoever, I mean, it takes hours, days, sometimes weeks to put together a fully produced video. And I'm not talking about just doing what I'm doing here, turn on the camera and talking with no B-roll or music and audio and color grading and outlines and plots and filming things. I mean, that all takes many hours of work. So I understand what you're saying. It's like, is it really worth your time to make a video about something that people will just dislike and not want to watch anyway? So, no, when I do videos, I point out the flaws as well as the positives, but it's got to be enough positives to make it worth my time to want to share it with you. Because if I think it's garbage and it's not worth sharing, why share it? It's kind of like just wasted effort, right? So yeah. So Bradley got a new one that solves the problem. It wasn't so much the V-clamp as it was the flange on the top of the fermenter. Oh, the flange on the base itself. Yeah, well, so this is a thing about the V-clamps, going back to 15 minutes ago or whenever I was bringing it up and I got sidetracked. I'm not a fan of V-clamps for home brewing fermenters, because I used to design V-clamps for a living. I used to work for a company that makes them. I also, in college, was my senior engineering project was to analyze with finite element analysis on a computer and model up their families of clamps and analyze them for failures, and so they can get like burst pressure charts and things produced without having to actually test all the various combinations of their different clamps and sizes, right? So what I did was, so I've had experience dealing with this all the way back to like the mid-90s. And the V-clamps are not designed for this application. They're not. Their design intent is to be used with flanged pipe, joining flanged pipe. And the pipe ends have a big solid metal flange on them. You join them together, you put the clamp on, tighten the clamp compresses the angled flanges together tighter and tighter and tighter to compress them. There's no such meat on these types of fermenters. They're all drawn sheet metal or formed sheet metal parts, really thin gauge metal that when the clamps with a little V shape kind of clamp in on them like this, yeah, there'll be some compression, I suppose, but that was never the intended use case for V clamps. So whenever I see that in something, I just kind of cringe. It's like, yeah. But I was hoping for the best, because I have a Spike Flex Plus, and it's got a V clamp, and it works well enough to ferment in for 2 weeks. It still has a slight pressure loss at times, not all the time. It comes and goes, but that's my point. They're unreliable. It may work 9 out of 10 times for you, but that one time where it's got that leak, it piss me off, right? So yeah. So I see what you're saying, because the geometry that flange lip and that lid comes on, and you're compressing this thing, and those things are prone to buckle, bow, or get wavy, and all that stuff can introduce leaks. Absolutely. So that's good. I'm glad you got it solved. Cheers, Larry, from Henry. Hey, Henry, cheers to you. Little toast. And then so Mitchell says he used Sapphire. Actually, I don't know. Is that Sapphire or Sapphire? I don't know if I know that one. On your last 2 lagers, came out great. Similar to Hallertau, but yeah. Okay, I have to, if you can spell that correctly, if it's misspelled. If not, make sure you let me know that's not misspelled. I haven't heard of that one. Upper Peninsula of Michigan, Diver Bob. Excellent. Actually, I'm going to be out there in about a week and a half. Not the Ooper or the Upper or the UP. I'm actually going to, I have plans at least to go to Traverse City and hit some wine trails over Memorial Day weekend, but getting a little bit of sticker shock on what they're asking for like the hotel prices up there. I'll tell you, man, I'm not spending that kind of money just to sip wine. So that may not happen, but so that's cool. Digital Damo, Brewbuilt was my first stainless conical. I was disappointed with it, and the seal. Oh man. Yeah. I know. That's too bad. I mean, it leaves a bad taste in your mouth, man. I kind of wish it was not so bad like that. Otherwise, it's a fine fermenter. It's just, yeah, not a fan of V-clamps. Just not. Yeah, they may work most of the time, or some of the time, or to a degree, but I don't trust them like I do other clamping mechanisms. So yeah. Let's see what we got here. A pool filter, Bradley. Yeah, that's well, yeah. I mean, but even the pool filters have like because they're like plastic, I think, things, aren't they? And they just have like those flanges. I think they behave like a stainless or a metal flange pipe. It's the same idea, right? Yeah. So anyway, it's spelled correctly. Sapphire. Okay, I have to take a look at that. Saphir. Gotta keep that in mind. So here, let me look it up here. Sapphire. This is the advantage of being on a computer while I'm doing this, huh? Sapphire, and not on my mobile phone, like some people do. Yeast. Let me take a look. Oh, geez. Sapphire hops. Oh, it's hops. I thought you meant yeast. Huh. Okay. I haven't heard of that hop either. There's so many hops nowadays out there, man. I thought I had them all memorized 20 years ago, because there's probably maybe a dozen mainstream hops, and because of all the breeding and stuff they've been doing over the years, now you have hundreds probably, I think, by now, right? And new ones come out every few months. I just quit trying to keep up with it all. I don't know. Let's see. Oh, I lost my. I just noticed that my chat isn't showing up in that green area. I wonder why that is. Give me a minute here. Let me see if I can put the chat. Pop out chat. Okay, hold on. Let me see if I can fix this. I gotta go to my live stream thing. Hold on here. This might happen all at one time. Let me see. All right, let me see. Did it do it? No, it didn't, did it? Damn it. Okay, well, it used to work when I did my last stream. YouTube must have changed something, or OBS must have changed something, which is the broadcasting software that I'm using here. So something changed. This is what happens when you don't spend hours rehearsing a live stream that's supposed to be impromptu. Right? I didn't do any rehearsal. I just pulled out my microphone and my laptop, my headset, and my camera up here. And this is not even a webcam. This is my nice Sony 4K camera. So it should focus easily. It should be nice 4K. Actually, it's not even 4K. I actually downscaled the stream to 1080p for HD, just so in case my wireless signal gets choked or something or whatever. Because honestly, many of you are watching on cell phones anyway, and you can't tell the difference between 1080p and 4K anyway. So I took the burden off my now older laptop and reduced it down to 1080p. I've been filming it in 4K this year so far. I've got some old footage from some old B-roll I had been adding to my videos this year, but But all this new content of me talking to the camera and everything like this, that's all done on my new Sony 4K. And it's the cheapest 4K camera I could find aside from like a GoPro or my iPhone, both which have serious limitations in their quality and ability to make 4K. No, not all 4K is the same. There are differences between the different devices. All right, let's see. So I have 25 people on. You guys got any questions you want to mention? Just throw them on down there, man, because again, I didn't have any agenda other than give you a clay update and rant about V-clamps, which I've done now, I think, twice since I started this video. So we got something new. I'm all ears, man. I'm enjoying the fresh air outside and the sunshine, and yeah, I mean, I'm enjoying this. I'm not going to the house, so I'm sitting right here, whether I'm live streaming or not. I'm doing something. Let me see here. Where did I go to school? Oh, Port Badly. Well, I mean, grade school, preschool, high school, junior high, college. I think you mean college. I mean, well, high school, I was in the south suburbs here in Chicago, but college, I went to the University of Illinois at Urbana-Champaign. And you know, I went there because I put the Urbana before the Champaign. A lot of people who don't go there, they say, I went to U of I at Champaign, Urbana. Well, actually, Urbana is where the campus mainly is, and Champaign is the party town side of campus. And that's where all the visitors come down, and all they know is Champaign, Urbana, or Champaign, because that's where all the fun is, right? The bars and the parties and stuff. But the campus is mostly in Urbana, and nobody says, oh, I went to Urbana and had a great time. They go, I went to Champaign and had a good time. Yeah, so that's where I went. Okay, so digital Damo, I do not understand that Brewbuilt has permanent built-in 15 psi PRV, and then you can purchase a pro-grade PRV, which I think is crazy. Don't even worry about it. The thing can't even hold 15 psi, unfortunately. So that's been a discouraging thing, but I mean, talk about redundancy. I mean, crap. I mean, this, again, my camera's, or my microphone's in the way, but I got the Brewbuilt here. Hold on. Let me see here. There we go. It's kind of hard to see back there. Back over here. That's their pressure device, or their pressure spunning valve, and it's got a 15 psi check valve built into the lid. Fine, they all do it. Then they have this stack, this little cross-like stack of pressure gauge on the right side. That say the maximum pressure relief valve, this big giant thing on the left. So it's like a redundancy to the one that's built into the lid. And then on the very top, you have the adjustable spunning valve that you can adjust. So you basically have 1, 2, 3, basically three PRVs in this system. So it's kind of overkill. It's kind of funny though too. So let's see. Oh, the Sonic cleaner from Jacob. Jacob says, Bradley, I just ordered my Sonic cleaner today because of you. Well, that's funny. I was actually watching that video. Was it last week or so that you posted it, or sooner? And I've been going to gun shows for years where they have like the large, like rifle size, like barrel size for like a rifle barrel, Sonic cleaners, and I would just drool watching the demonstration, the sales guy in his booth going over the whole, oh, you got these dirty gun parts, and you drop them in, and then you put the whole barrel in, and oh, it's so cool, it's so cool. But I never coughed up the cash for one because I'm like, well, I mean, I don't mind running a rod through my gun now and then. I mean, at least so. But now that I'm older and I'm getting not lazier, I'm just getting tired of all the hustle and bustle. I'll throw them in a tank and let them soak and call it a day, right? Totally cool. Oh, Bradley says he had some friends that went to Urbana-Champaign down in Illinois. Urbana-Champaign. I mean, good school, yeah. RPI. Now what's our come on, you're playing with me now. What is RPI? Something kind of institute or Rhode Island something? I mean, I don't know. What's RPI? Trumpet Master. I was searching for videos on the Broil King keg and found your channel. New subscriber here. All right. Well, cheers to you, man. Salute. I use that. I use that thing at least once a year. I use it more often, but I have 2 or 3 other grills out. I got 3 other grills out here in addition to it. So I love it, and I got it for a specific purpose because I've had grills for years, and I picked up that Broil King keg solely because it was mountable on a truck hitch, on a trailer hitch. So, and I had a need to go to some parties and competitions, rib contest I go to once a year in Indiana, for example. And there's no way I could fit a 400 or 500 pound fragile ceramic cooker in the back of my truck and haul it anywhere. So I wanted to get a Kamado that was able to be lifted and hauled, and that works perfectly for that. The only downside is that it's a little small in the 18-inch diameter, so the ribs have to be kind of either set on their side and curled up, or like lifted up in the middle so they bow, so the sides come in a little bit so they don't get pinched by the lid. But you know, it's a good cooker. I use it just only on occasion because I got so many options. Is my point. Jacob asked a question. He says he's on the fence of going to a Kegmenter or a Tri-Clamp Conical. Which would you recommend? Kegmenter, hands down. I mean, I am 100% in the camp of the bucket style pressure fermenters. And because I don't see a need for conicals. I think they're a little bit, well, don't get me wrong. The conical catch is fine. It's just the dump valves I find no use for. They're just not necessary. They're not needed, right? And they add cost and complexity and size to your system. And I think the Conical uses V clamps. I think so. I'm not sure. And so I would stay away from that personally. That's my experience talking and opinion. That's not others, right? So don't get upset at everyone else who likes them. I just don't have one, so I can't speak firsthand. I just know from conceptually speaking, not really big into that kind of stuff with the conicals and the dump drip tubes and the dump valves and all that stuff. I just think they're completely over the top for homebrewing as a hobby, in my opinion, of course, again. So I would recommend a Kegmenter like I have, because it's perfect. It's the size of a keg. If your kegerator or your fridge can fit a kegerator or a keg normally, it'll fit this thing in. So you know, if you're going to turn like a mini fridge or a fridge into a fermentation chamber like I had done, it's going to fit in there, right? And it uses tri-clamp seals, so it seals really well, it holds its pressure, and it's got the floating dip tube in there that you can use to rack out of and into a regular keg and get it off the sediment and carbonate. You could even carbonate in this thing in the fridge, and I've tried that before, and it was pretty cool. It's very versatile. The Kegmenter can also be used as a still. So if you want to get into distilling water, that is, they have attachments of all kinds that will fit a 4-inch tri-clamp opening, and you can just use it as a still, right? With some other accessories, of course, on top, but as a base for that. And what else do I like about it? It's easy to carry. It's got 2 handles. These other bigger fermenters, like the Brewbuilt, they don't have handles. The intent is that they're going to be so heavy, you're not going to move them once you fill them. They're just going to sit where they're at, which is a downside, in my opinion. For those of you who brew in a garage like me and have to move your fermenter someplace else in a different room or even across the same room, you want to be able to carry it, right? And because it's like a keg, it's got those big grippy handles on it that you can like lift it up and waddle it over to wherever you need to take it. It's very convenient for that. So, yes, in my opinion, I'm 100% on board with the Kegmenter. Plus, it's like not. I mean, they're only I think between $200 and $300 depending on the size, right? And it holds, I think, the one I got is a 13-gallon one, so it will hold the 10 gallons of finished beer plus extra for losses, right? For foaming and for losses in the bottom due to the tube falling out, right? So anyway, that's my proposal. Let's see. How's my brother? From Tom. How's my brother? He's. I think he's doing well. I mean, I talk to him or text him at least once in a while, but he's got his own hobbies and other issues and family pseudo family, in-house family. His girlfriend and her kids have moved in with him a couple of years ago. So that's eating up his time. And I'd like to see him here more often, but it just doesn't happen a lot nowadays, unfortunately. Logman, any live brew days coming up? Well, no, none planned. Because why? Because I haven't planned them. I don't think I had one since last year. I think I had one last year. I hope I had last one. I'm pretty sure I had at least one last year. A couple of them, maybe. But the problem with setting up for a live stream is that I gotta know when I'm going to brew again. And like I mentioned when I started the stream, it's like I don't. You know what? I can't even get this here. I'm just going to go full screen here because the chat isn't even working. So what was the question again? I'm sorry. I was staring at the screen, looking at this blank green screen. Oh, live brew days. Yeah. So yeah, I do want to start doing that again. As to when, I don't know, because like I was saying, I don't know if and when I'll be brewing on any given day of the week because of everything going on. It might get a little easier maybe this summer because there's not so much going on the weekends except for some vacations and some other little things here and there and some family in town. So I can work around that. I'll probably plan one at some point. They're fun to do, but they're also very tiring because you're trying to maintain. So me, I like to do it, as you probably know, with multiple camera angles to make it interesting, and trying to like be the camera operator and the MC and the brewer and the chef who's getting food for everybody who's here because I'm hosting people while I'm doing the stream and all that. It's just it's like my head just spins in circles trying to keep up with it, and when it's all done, I'm exhausted. So I got to make sure I'll have the energy to do it as well as the time. I got to plan it out, but I do not have any plans yet. But that's a good question. I'll have to think about it and come up with one. Bradley, Portland gentleman, Rensselaer Polytechnic Institute. Oh, in New York. Okay. Well, I said Rhode Island. It was R. It was close to New York. Just kidding. Oh, that's cool. Kurt is in here. What's up, Kurt? How you doing? So from Logman, the Clawhammer keg they are coming out with soon. It looks like a good option. It sure does. And that's along the lines of the Kegmenter that I was just mentioning a few minutes ago. So I think for a 5-gallon batch, I think it's a 6-gallon. See, one of the problems is that you can use a regular keg, a regular corny keg as a fermenter. The only problem is that you got to downscale your batches to leave headspace for like foam and stuff, right? And some krausen. So I think Kyle's I think it's a 6-gallon one, which is fine, beautiful, and it's got pressure PRV built in. I saw him that he had to redo some of the designs because there's a fear about explosive force, right? So you're undoing like a pressurized vessel and you didn't depressurize it, and then the cap that's right in front of your face blows up and can actually take out an eye or give you a concussion or worse. So I think they redesigned it with some safety key or something that you need to use to like open the thing up to make sure that you depressurize it or something. So yeah, that looks pretty cool. That's the kind of fermenter I'm a huge fan of because they're easy to carry. They fit in your fridge as is. They are pressurizable. They could probably, I'm assuming they can hold the pressure just like a regular corny keg. All right, so that's cool. I mean, yeah. I might look into getting one of those. Maybe. We'll see. I got tons of fermenters already, tons of pressure fermenters, some of which I've already given away to other people. So it's not like I'm hurting for yet another pressure vessel, but that's a pretty cool option though. Yeah, Kurt says, yeah. If it don't kill you, you'll forget it's pressurized. Yeah, and that's what Kyle did in that Clawhammer video of several weeks or a couple of months now ago, where he showed a video of him he was filming another video he was filming for something else, and he was catching the footage of, he was releasing the pressure on one of the 1.5-inch ports or something on there, and boom, and the cap, I mean, it was so fast you couldn't see it on screen, but his hair went and he looks up and it put a dent in the ceiling. So it was like, whoa, Yeah, no, that's not cool. Yeah, pressure fermentation is no joke. You definitely want to know what you're doing with it. But well, I'm going to finish this bourbon up because I want something else to drink. I'm sorry, I'm just reading off the chat window. Portly, Bradley, your mommy will really like their new design. Treat a Unitech like a loaded gun. You'll be fine. Oh, I see. Because it's extra safe. Make sure it's unloaded before. Ah, that's a pretty good analogy. Yeah, I haven't thought of that. Yeah, but that's the same idea, man. I always assume it's pressurized or assume the gun's loaded every time you get handed to it. So you walk up to a pressure fermenter, always assume it's pressurized. And if you want it unpressurized, give a pull on that PRV to make sure that it is, right? That's a good analogy, man. But cool. Oh, so what else? I got what other news do I got to share with y'all? So I got a new product that I've reviewed and have in the can already, ready to be posted on a new product coming up by a very popular home brewing and pro brewing company that you probably all know. And I've known about it for probably 6 months now, and I've been dying to share it with you. And probably in a few weeks, hopefully, I'll be able to do that when they announce the launch. But it's a product I know I loved, and I think you're going to love it too if you are like me. Simplicity, ease of cleaning, yeah. So I can't give you any more information than that. I've already told them I wouldn't share any details until they announced it first. No, Kurt, I'm not telling you what it is, who it is, man. I cannot acknowledge who it is. I would love to, because this would be a good time to talk about it, because it's a good topic to talk about. So maybe I'll have to do another live stream after that video goes live in a few weeks or a month or so, and then I can do a follow-up live stream like this and talk shop about it. But right now I can't do that. And a question there. Oh, he's laughing. Yeah, for sure. So what else did I have to share with you folks? Anything new in my catalog? No, I got this new glycol chiller from Brewbuilt that went with the X2. I never used a glycol chiller before. Cost was one, noise was a second, and three, because of pressure fermentation, I didn't feel a need to have to refrigerate jack shit, because I would just take my fermenter down to my cool basement and pressurize it and let it ferment out. And I never had a bad beer from that process ever. So I never had much of a need for a chiller. But now that I have one, thing's awesome. In some ways, I wish I had solved this problem years ago, right? Because I would brew out here, fill up 2 5-gallon fermenters or whatever, something that I'm able to carry, and then carry it up some steps, through a door, down some steps, around a corner, down some more steps, through a door, down to my basement, find a spot to go put these fermenters in, and man, that was backbreaking, especially as my back starts aching more and more nowadays. So having a place where I can now, and I solved this once last year with the Kegmenter and my little converted kegerator sitting right out here now, about a year or so or more ago, and that worked great for a while. But then this Brewbuilt came in this year with the I can see it in the camera down there. That's the chiller right over here, and that thing's been awesome. I'm kind of looking for a way to maybe take my Kegmenter. Oh yes. So what I want to do now, because Ice Master 2 can supply chilling to 2 fermenters at the same time, I was kind of thinking I would do something with my Kegmenter and put like a cool stick or a coil into the 4-inch TC opening on my Kegmenter, and maybe surround it in some kind of insulative jacket or something, and then I can just put that off to the side and let my fridge be a fridge again. So, thoughts, things that just like, oh yeah, I could do that now that I couldn't do before. So there's that. Deborah Bob says Traverse City is also the cherry capital of Michigan. Yeah. Well, I've been there once before, several years ago, less than a decade ago, to hit the wine trails in the Old Mission Bay Peninsula and the Leelanau Peninsula. you kind of did that, each day or two we would go up a different peninsula and hit all the different wineries up and down the coast there of Lake Michigan and Mission Bay or whatever, right? But yeah, so I should be able to find some great cherry wines in your tour. Yeah, for sure. Cherry salsas are good. Yeah. So when I was up there last time, it was the same experience as I go to Door County, Wisconsin. So if you go a bit to like Door County, Wisconsin, it's the exact same climate, just on the opposite side of Lake Michigan, like the same latitude even. And that's a big fruit and cherry place there too. But going to Traverse City and to Door County, Wisconsin, I would come back with like cherry syrup, cherry wine, cherry pancake mix, cherry cough drops, all kinds of cherry stuff, man. It was like big. It was awesome. I mean, I'm not complaining, but then after a while, you get a little bit tired of the cherry, right? Yeah. So that's good. And the cherry sauces too. Yeah, absolutely. I think they're awesome. And some cherry beer. I believe I had. It was good stuff. I wish I can go up there right now, this like today. Yeah, very cool. So that's good to know. We may not make it up to Traverse City this year. We might actually end up going to New Buffalo area or the other town nearby where they have a bunch of wineries there. What was that one town? I think it starts with a D. There's that's the winery Domaine Berrien in Southwest Michigan. That's one of my favorite wineries. I always stop in there every time I drive through to get some more bottles of wine on the way to and from Michigan, somewhere. Door County has that restaurant with the grass on the roof, with the grass roof and goats. Yeah, that's the Anderson I think it was Anderson restaurant. It's a Scandinavian, so Anderson, right? I think it's Anderson. Anyway, yeah, they have a restaurant up there in the northern part of the Door County, up closer to the tip of the peninsula. That they have like grass or sod roofs, and there's goats that kind of climb on it from the hillside adjacent to the restaurant. And so so that's pretty entertaining too. Sure, yeah. Thanks, Weston. Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Now, I prefer Traverse City over those wine peninsulas near Traverse City over Door County any day, because Door County, they didn't have because as a home brewer, Traverse City had a few good breweries in town too, right? I mean, but Door County, no, it's not really like a brew pub place. It's actually more of a downscale place. The contrast, for those who haven't been to like Door County, Wisconsin, is that they have a countywide ordinance that they're north of Sturgeon Bay, which is the largest city in the county, straddling the waterway that cut in Green Bay to Lake Michigan. North of that and the rest of the peninsula, no corporations are allowed to operate, no franchises. There's no McDonald's, no Walgreenses, no Burger Kingses, no Starbuckses, whatever. It's all a bunch of local stores, restaurants, trinket shops, a lot of art galleries and that foo-foo kind of crap. But they have wineries, but most of the wines are fruit wines, like blackberry, plum, all that kind of stuff. I'm not a fruit. I like cherry wine, but only dry cherry wine, not a sweet cherry wine. But Michigan, Traverse City had all of that and more. They had the beers, they had the great brew pubs, they had the good food, they had the good wine trails, all the good wineries for whites and reds, and the bay there. It was cool. Yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to going back now. I'm talking myself into paying the money. We're looking at per night room stays over Memorial Day weekend up there, and we're looking at several $100s a night plus taxes and fees. It was just ridiculous. Traverse City has a homebrew shop. Okay, yeah, well, I'm not going up there to go shopping. I got 3 in this area, but I wouldn't mind stopping in there and checking it out, because it's kind of cool to see other homebrew stores and see what they stock. For like years, I went to just the one homebrew store closest to me, and was caught. I'm like, this is all they offer? This is pretty shitty equipment. I mean, this, whatever. Oh, the ingredient selection sucks. And then I went to another one just a little further away in a different direction. And I was like, what? This is cool gear. What's that ingredient called? So I mean, yeah, it makes all the difference which homebrew shop you go to. And now I go to one even further away now, because I like the owner and her dad, and they it's a little bit of a further drive in traffic, but they cater to you well. So it's pretty cool. That was not Clay, by the way. That was my wife texting me. Clay, if you're watching, send me a note. So, but yeah, that's cool. So the golf up there is top notch in Traverse City. Yeah, I can imagine so. I've only been up there with my wife, and she don't golf, and I'm a recreational golfer, or a social golfer, I should say. I only golf with other dudes who want to go play golf. I don't go out and play alone. I just find that boring. Yeah, but that's cool. That's cool. Question from Henry. Do you mean all those out east of the dunes? Oh, I'm reading this out of sync. I think you're talking about the brew pubs and wineries. Maybe I was talking about. Maybe, yeah. I mean, east of the dunes. So there's that Sleeping Bear Dunes State Park, which is that really high sand dune. They get to like drop all the way down. Oh, hold on a minute. Have fun. That's my daughter leaving. So yeah, but that Sleeping Bear Park was pretty cool because the sand dunes were so high and the grade down to the beach so steep. They had signs warning people, big signs at the top of the dunes, like do not descend down this hill unless you can get back up on your own. Otherwise, you'll be paying for the cost of the rescue helicopter required to haul you out of there. So, and I'm looking down, lay down, and I see these people like, this is fun, going down all the way down hundreds of feet, all the way down to the bottom of this thing, down to the lakefront, down to Lake Michigan shoreline, and then on the other side of the trail, there's people. They're like trying to climb the sand, but every step they take is like a half step slide back down. So they step up, slide back down. I said, I'm not going down there, man. I am just not doing it. Just not doing it. Oh, man. Oh, yeah. There's no way I could do that now, especially with my bad heels and my knees. Man. Anyway, so what else has got going on here? Oh, are you seeing my secret gadget? You can't see that yet. That was the thing I was telling you about earlier that I can't share. It was just barely on camera. It's a good thing that you didn't see more of it. It's a little blurry back there too by design, with the focus in the background not being so being more blurry. I mean, so all right. So I'm trying to figure out what my agenda is going to be this year. What kind of videos that I'm going to make. People think my driveway is like a. Oh, okay. Strangers pulling my driveway to do turnarounds. It's like, why is it always my driveway? There's a driveway right across the street and one door over, but they pick mine all the time. I don't get it. Oh, wait a minute. Oh, shoot, that was my neighbor. Well, wait a minute. Why do they park in their own driveway? Anyway, I'm cracking myself up here. All right, so anyway, so I'm not sure what I'm not sure what to make this summer. I started off this channel as a food channel, oddly enough, and it was like barbecue and beer became beer and barbecue because over time that became my most dominant type of video, and it seems that what I'm kind of been pigeonholed into here, at least amongst those who watch my channel, because I just posted a barbecue thermometer video a day or two ago, or yesterday actually, and it's doing poorly because I'm like, okay, well, people aren't interested in cooking thermometers apparently. So it's like, okay, well, that was a bust. So maybe I should not do those kind of cooking gadget videos anymore. You know, I mean, so I'm just trying to decide where to best put my time on this channel, because time is limited and precious, and I want to make sure I get the right content out that's not only interesting to you, but interesting to me, because I have to be interested in the topic in order to want to do this stuff and post content, right? So, if you have any suggestions as to what kind of things you want to see a person like me who knows about cooking and brewing do, maybe this year, because I'm running out of. I got a long list of video ideas, but that long list has been around for years. So I keep bumping down these old ideas down the list in favor of more trendy or current topics, and And at some point, I'm going to get back into my old stash of old video topics and and rehash those again. But whatever I find interesting will be cool. Oh, strippers. Ah, okay, very good. You want to talk about strippers' work? Should I open an OnlyFans account? Do you think that would be cool? I could take my shirt off, earn some tips. You could tip me right here if you wanted to. There's this super chat thing down at the bottom. The dollar sign on it looks like, but I know that's where the OnlyFans models make a ton of money. I just was watching a video this morning. It's an obscure thing. For those of you who subscribe to the Black Rifle Coffee Company's YouTube channel, they put some funny ass videos out there every so often. And one of the characters that was recurring was this girl named Heather Lynn, and she calls herself the Bitter Barista. And so I started following her channel, and she posts some pretty hilarious stuff too. And this last video she did like a kind of a spoof or a joke video, because they're all kind of jokes in some way, where she does a coffee tutorial with a current porn star who's there, whose name is Corey Chase. Which I'm like, who's Corey Chase? I had to go look it up. I'm like, oh, that's Corey Chase. Oh, really? But anyway, I've been following her channel today, and they were talking about how she makes her money. She's like, I pay cash for this house. Kind of making fun of the host, the girl Heather, because all she's doing is doing coffee tutorials. So it's just one of those funny things. Oh, my wife's home. I might have to hit mute in just a moment here, but stay with me. Yeah, strippers and beer. Oh, strippers and beer, I guess. It's the year of the lager. Redo my fast lager with the Nova lager. Oh, that's a good idea. So that fast lager was a Helles lager, which I've been wanting to brew this year. So that's on my list of 2 brews this year. And Nova lager, I guess it's kind of new. Oh, hold on just a minute. So the Nova lager is new, right? And I went looking for it and couldn't find anything smaller than a big brick of it, right? And so I'm gonna just wait until it circulates around to my local homebrew store. I generally I always prefer to give my money to my local homebrew stores when it comes to buying ingredients. Equipment, it's a different thing, because the homebrewing stores I shop at really don't have the gear I like to buy anyway. But I always want to help fund them, because the costs, profit margins are dwindling because of the online competition between Northern Brewer and More Beer and other ones out there taking a bigger and bigger cut of that local homebrew shop income. So I do what I can to support the local homebrew. There's 3 of them in my area, and I kind of try to distribute my cash around those 3 stores when I go out and shopping. I know I'm paying more money per ounce. I know I'm paying more money per package for yeast. I know, but I'd rather have a local homebrew store that I can zip over to that was open and still in business when I need to, than having to wait for. Sometimes overnight shipping is great, but if I need it that day, then that doesn't help, right? Nova Lager, Diver Bob. That's a new strain of lager. Let's have a little fun here, shall we? Let's go into here. I'm gonna do a little search and I'll share. Nova Lager. Let me find the website first, and then I'll share. Hopefully this works. Web browser. Oh yeah. All right. You should be able to see a partial web browser. Let me tear that away. Oh, that's the wrong one. Darn it. All right, I'll put that back in there then. Hold on a minute. Let me go back to here. Let me do this again. Because hell, if I can't figure out how to use a web browser nowadays, for crying out loud. I've been using this Firefox web browser back when it was called Mozilla back in the early 90s, before most of you knew what a web browser or the World Wide Web was. And here today, I can't figure out how to use this thing now. All right, let's try this again. Let's go to web browser mode. Okay, I should be sharing a web browser. All right. Yeah. All right, so It's a Lulleman Brewing Company lager. And since you're probably looking at a small screen, let me see if I can make it bigger here. Control. Oh, I don't have a scroll wheel. Darn it. Here, hold on. View, zoom. Oh, here we go. There we go. Hope that's good enough for you, the guys with the old eyes. And it is a bottom fermenting, so a lager, right? Produces clean lagers, distinct flavor characteristics, superior fermentation performance. It's supposedly a lager strain that could be fermented at warmer temperatures because it's got a low diacetyl output and it inhibits production of sulfide off flavors. So yeah, so I guess you can do it warmer, and you can also, I think, ferment less time. Yeah, right there, reducing fermentation or maturation time. Yeah. So that's what that is. And see that big box there, that big package? Yeah, that's what that's what I wasn't going to buy. So yeah. Let me switch back to full screen mode so I can see your comments, because I couldn't see them with that other thing open. Yeah, so I have to resize my screen now so I can see both myself in the preview and this. All right, so what's my local homebrew store? Oh, hold on, Kurt, let me back up to Nick. A relatively quick video covering all the new spreadsheet features would be great. Oh, yeah. I just posted an update a number of weeks or maybe a couple of months ago, just a minor one. But yeah, I didn't do, because for a while I was doing version update videos from version 1 to 2 to 2 dot something to 3 to 3 dot something. And by the time I got to around version 4 and now version 5 something, I guess I forgot to go back and do those. I should, because I put a lot of new cool stuff in these newer versions, man. Stuff that I learned for the hard way by trial and error on brew days. They go, man, I wish I had a calculator that did that. Why don't I add it to my spreadsheet next time? So I go out and add some more functionality. It's like, well, I wish it wouldn't calculate it this way. I wish it would split it up into this portion and that portion for like the measurement. Or, oh yeah, okay, I'll do that next time. You know, boy, I wish it would really tell me if I missed my missed my pre-boiled starting gravity, how much water or malt to add to make up for it. Oh man, I could do it on paper, and it takes me several minutes because I'm half drunk or distracted doing live streams on brew days to like think about it deeply. But if I just punch in a number and just have it show me, next version, right? So definitely should do that. Yeah, that's a good idea. I might have to make a note of that here, because I think that will be awesome. I should do that because I have added a lot of new functionality into that spreadsheet since I last did a video about it. And honestly, I have to go through my release notes on that first tab in that spreadsheet to go see what all that I did, because I don't even remember all the changes I made over the past couple of years. So I'm in on that. Plus, I might do another recipe design video, either in a live stream format like I did that one time, or in a pre-produced format. I think maybe a live stream will give you more information you want, but it might drag out because of all the different people with different questions. I might do both. I might do a sort of like a half-hour long, like super tutorial with different chapters, essentially, and then maybe a follow-up live stream. I think that might be the best combination. I didn't even know people are still using my spreadsheet. Everyone's talking about Brewfather and some of these other ones that are online and supposedly free. There's no such thing as free. You'll pay the price eventually. You'll lose your recipes. The cloud will go down. They'll start charging. They'll go out of business. The server goes down when you need to use it the most. I never like cloud solutions for this stuff. I always want a personal ownership and storage of my own stuff, right, including my software. So I still maintain my own brewing spreadsheet, and still amazed that some of you still out there are hanging on with me with it, because so many people have jumped ship, or maybe never even looked at my spreadsheet and just went right to the those online web browser versions, whatever. What's my home brewing store from Kurt? You don't have one within 70 miles of you? Damn Iowans. Well, there's one in Des Moines ran by the Terpsy Korean kid. His YouTube channel, I can't remember his real name. I wonder if he's still in business. He hasn't done videos in a long time. Yeah, no, there's three of them. There's a brew and grow here in my area. They have growing supplies as well, for all kinds of gardening and other things, and they also sell homebrewing stuff. So there's that. There's a homebrewing supply shop in another direction, about a little bit further. I think it's called Homebrew Shop Limited. I think they just changed their name to like the Broken Bricks or something like that, because they also do wine too. And then there was another one called What's Brewing Supply, which is the one where the lady and her dad run the shop together. And yeah, it's fun talking with them because they're actual real homebrewers. They're really into it. Whereas one of those shops, I think the employees brew beer because they have to, and probably because it's part of the shop. But I never see them really get into talking about beer with me. I'll ask them questions. They'll just nod and say, hey, well, that's cool. Yeah, sure. And it's like, oh, okay, you don't have anything to offer in the conversation, so I pay for my stuff and leave usually, right? So, yeah, whatever. Let's see what else we got here. Question. Oh, yeah, the Nova Lager is released in Europe. Yeah. I think it started there and it's coming here. That's why it's kind of, I don't know the details. Hey, Bobby, good to see you too. Nick, yeah. So yeah, all right, cool. I'm glad you like the spreadsheet. I found it to be the most accurate brewing calculator I've ever had, or tried, or seen. I hit my numbers spot on. Usually, unless my mash efficiency is high or low because of some change in my recipe, like a large grain bill versus a average size one, for example, or wheat versus barley dominant grains using more water absorption, or like rice. Rice really absorbs a lot of water, more than barley did, and my recipe calculator only assumes about a certain amount of water absorption per gallon based upon barley. Well, when your grain bill is like 40% rice, I had to add a buttload more water to my last recipe in order to dilute my light beer, which was like in like strong beer category, down to a light beer strength. It was like, wow, I had no idea that rice held that much water, more so than like barley, right? So I already have some enhancements in mind going forward to change the grain absorption ratios depending upon your combined grain bill. Which percentage is barley? Which percentage is wheat? Which percentage is an adjunct like corn or rice? And it'll give you a much better estimate of the loss, the grain absorption loss, so you get a much better extract efficiency prediction and pre-boil volume prediction too, right? Some of these other, I haven't seen any of these other spreadsheets these other programs do any of that. But I could be wrong because I haven't looked in a little bit. They maybe have by now, but not back when I was looking at them. Let's see. So, that's good, Kurt. I'm sorry, Nick. And Kurt too. Oh, he closed it, huh? Tripsy Korean Kid. See, this is what I'm talking about, man. Oh, it's in Cedar Rapids. Oh, okay. Yeah. So this guy, Terpsy Korean Kid, I don't want to spell it, TERPSI Korean CHOREAN. He was one of the first brew tubers I started watching on YouTube back in the early teens here, last decade, and I was kind of getting into homebrewing. I was into homebrewing already, but I was really learning stuff from him because like everyone else, you're at different stages of the process. I'm always learning new stuff, and back then I was learning a lot of new stuff because I was still relatively new at it, and then he quit making videos for several years because he owned his homebrewing shop there. I think he was focusing more on that business, trying to keep it afloat, and it's too bad that he not only doesn't make YouTube videos anymore, now he's lost his business. That sucks. There was another homebrew shop a little bit further away from my house here that also went out of business about right before COVID started. I think they were called Smarty Pints. They have a YouTube channel. They still have it out there, but it hasn't been posted to in like 4 years. And those guys had some really good content as well. And it was a shame to see them go bye-bye too, because they closed that homebrew shop and therefore the channel closed too. So I give homebrew shops my business whenever I can. I hope you're not hearing that. Are you guys able to hear that saw in the background? Hold on a minute. There. That's better. I just closed my back door. Hopefully it'll be more muffled. A question from Bobby. Have I ever used upwards of 40% corn in a lager? He says he did a Mexican corn, 40% corn and 60% two-row Mexican beer. 40%, not corn, no. I have to go back and look at my records here. If I open it up, I don't want to keep everyone hooked on here while I go looking through my archives on my other computer on my network down at my house looking for a recipe here. But it was, I think that recipe I did, or whenever I use corn, it's like 20%, 25%. I've never done something as large as 40. But who says you can't? I just did a 37 or 36% rice grain bill. So give it a shot. I mean, the only limitation, right, is the diastatic power. So you need diastatic power which is really enough enzymes in your mash to convert your mash, right? So barley's got two-row's got a ton of it. So if you have a 60% two-row, you're probably okay, because two-row's pretty good at diastatic power. It can make up for the corn, which has no enzymes whatsoever. So the enzymes from the barley will eat the starches from the corn, and that should be okay. But if you want to know for sure, my brewing spreadsheet has a section for entering your grain bill. So if you download it off my website and go to the tab for the grain bill where you input your grain bill, input your grain bill in there. And I think you might need to add some other variables to get it to calculate properly, because I have calculations galore in this thing, this is why it's so powerful. But it will tell you if you have enough diastatic power to power through with that much corn. And my guess is maybe, possibly, right? So, yeah, for sure. Oh yeah, no problem, Bobby. You're welcome. Yeah. And I think, I don't know, for the other brewing tools that you fellas and ladies who are listening use, do you care about this? Do you even check the diastatic power of your recipes? Does the software warn you if you are going to are going below the threshold of diastatic power that you need for your recipe because you put too much, say like rice or corn in your bill? I was just curious because I'd never seen that before many years ago, and I started doing it myself. Added it to my spreadsheet in one of my middle versions of my own spreadsheet. And it's really helpful for things like this beer that I just brewed, this American Light Lager, right? I mean, I used two-row malt, something else, and 36% rice, I think it was, and it had enough diastatic power. And even if it has enough diastatic power, the lower the diastatic power is, the lower it is, the longer it takes for your mash to convert. So that's important to know, right? So if you have been mashing for a half hour and you're in a hurry and your diastatic power isn't that high, you may be like cutting off your mash too early and not get the maximum efficiency, and now you have sugary or thick or cloudy. What's the impact of that? I'm drawing a blank now. I'm talking for an hour straight, basically, getting tired here. But yeah. So the lower the diastatic power, the longer it'll take to convert. So, and my spreadsheet kind of flags that, right? Mashmaker Challenge. Hey, bud. Nice, a good fellow from Wisconsin. I was just talking about Wisconsin just a little while ago, going up to Door County and stuff. I don't know if you were on the call by then, but for sure. I think you said that you're north of Milwaukee by Cedar or Appleton or something. Man, honestly, I can't remember now. But Milwaukee. Yeah. So you're yeah, that's right. I should have read further. Homebrew shops are very limited up here in Milwaukee. Yeah, there's a Northern Brewer, I think, up there, right? Oh yeah, I should read ahead. Each sentence at a time. Sorry. Used to have Beer and Grow. A Brew and Grow. Yeah. But they both closed. Yeah, see, that's what I'm saying. The stores are closing left and right. Bobby says he uses Brewfather. They do have a section for diastatic power, but there's no disclaimers like you built in yours. Oh, that's interesting. So it just gives you a number. It doesn't flag it like red, yellow, green or whatever, or green, yellow, red, like mine does. And mine's free. Anyway. Oh, all right. Well, so that's good to know. Question from Diver Bob. As far as adjuncts go, do you feel flake corn and flaked rice are pretty much the same thing? Do you prefer one corn or I'm sorry, do you prefer one over the other? Well, honestly, I mean, it'd be an anecdotal comparison because I never brewed both side by side and taste tested them to really have a firm opinion. But just generally speaking, over the years, I found myself drawn to more of the rice-based beers than I do the corn-based beers. So even some of the Japanese beers that use rice, or Budweiser even, out of the keg, not a can. I don't like the canned stuff. It just doesn't taste the same as draft. But and not the Bud Light, guys. Come on. Just but I recall I made that corn-based adjunct beer, I think 2 years ago. Spectacular. Loved every little drop of it, man. Then a year later, last year, I brewed like a rice version of that beer, and I drank and slammed every little last drop of that. So I don't think you can go wrong if your goal is to lighten the flavor and make it crisper, lighter in color as well. There's nothing wrong with it. Nothing wrong with either one. But just take what I've done as maybe an idea. I brewed a rice beer last summer, and I'm brewing another rice beer this summer. So I think maybe if I had to flip a coin, or actually choose or circle in a dot or whatever on a test, I'd probably circle rice. But not in all cases. So a question here. No, I guess there is no question. From Weston, he says he got into home brewing while living in Milwaukee. Northern Brewer was for sure where I went. Now I live in Denver, and there's a few great shops. Yeah. Oh, very cool. Yeah. I've been to Denver. I was just Denver a couple months ago, but not for home brewing. I was there for work. But I've never been to any homebrew shops out there to know what they're like. Hey, Northwest Small Batch Brewing, the evening. Welcome to the party. Thanks for joining. We were just talking about a variety of topics here, which most of who are still on the call have. Well, I guess we dropped a few viewers since I started, but that's okay. Y'all are getting bored. I've been on this call for, an hour and a half now. So probably get another half hour and probably call it quits because kind of hard to keep talking and rambling. And I'm still trying to finish this bourbon stout, for crying out loud. I'm dumping it. Actually, yeah, I'm dumping it. I'm going to switch to the good stuff here, I think. Oh, yeah. This is a, for those who are probably typing in their keyboard right now asking what this is Willet Bourbon Whiskey. I don't know if I can. Yeah, there it is. Willet Bourbon Whiskey. It was a gift I got from a buddy of mine for my birthday last year, and finally opened it. I got so many bottles of whiskey for that birthday. I probably got a dozen bottles of whiskey last fall for my 50th birthday that I've only got through like a third of them so far. I mean, it's a lot, man. Oh yeah. So the bottle shape is pretty cool. It's a gimmick, right? I mean, that's basically how they get your attention on the store shelf, right? But it does kind of look like, and it is kind of like the same bottle shape that the Sam Adams Utopia beers come in, except theirs is opaque, not glass, clear glass like that. So, but yeah, for sure. I guess we'll probably wrap it up in a little bit here, guys. Just wanted to touch base with you all tonight, and we got a question here. Oh no, not a question. It's a comment. Mash Maker Challenge: brew a Prohibition hams clone. Oh, hams, very good. Yeah, I like those Prohibition or pre-Prohibition lagers. There's a brew pub near me that makes them every summer, and I look forward to when they get them on tap. And there's just basically full flavored lager beers, right? I think, right? not thinned down or nothing. And that's the kind of style of beer I like anyway. So hams, though, I haven't had hams in many years, many years. I actually didn't know they still made hams. Do they still make hams? I haven't seen them in stores, at least not in Illinois. But yes, 6-row. So yeah, so like 6-row and corn. That's basically a basic, like Midwest beer, lager beer, right? 6-row is always the base for like Pabst and Old Milwaukee and Milwaukee's Best, maybe. I don't know. I'm going down the ladder of beers onto the bottom rungs there, but no, but I think 6-row was used for a reason, though, right? Because you can get more. I think you can get more sugars out of them per pound, per weight, per stalk, whatever. It was more mass producible, more economically mass producible to use 6-row, I believe. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. I don't know. Whatever. So they do make hams. That's our band practice beer on Monday nights. Oh, ha, ha. So what instrument do you play there in that band? Or is it like your kids in like marching band or high school band? And you're there with the other dads and up in the stands, pounding beers, kill the time. I'm just wondering, because that would be kind of funny too. Oh man. Anyway. But yeah. So thanks for shoot. Oh, this coming Wednesday, unless something's changed, I should be on CH's happy hour live stream Wednesday night. He invited me to go on last Wednesday, but I had a conflict. So as long as he didn't forget, I didn't forget. So CH, if you're watching here, I didn't forget. So if you forgot, you better let me know so I don't have to call in Wednesday night, because I'm calling in Wednesday night. So go to the happy hour from the Homebrew for Life. Well, Homebrew Life is his other channel. He's got 2 channels for those who don't know. He's got the happy hour channel where he does all his live streams, and he's got his separate Homebrew for Life channel. Okay, you're a drummer playing 2 bands. Oh, okay. Oh, okay. Well, that's cool, but I thought it was funnier that if you're just one of those alcoholic dads that was in the stand with the brown bag or like the coffee mug full of booze. They're just drinking to pass the time. I know someone like that. You know who you are if you're watching. Anyway. Okay, well, guys, I'm running out of ideas for now, and I actually been sitting here for an hour and a half, and my ass is killing me on this stupid garage stool that I bought. That I looked comfortable when I bought it, and that's not so comfortable when I'm sitting on it for an hour and a half. So, but I just want to thank you all for like joining tonight. I would like to do this more often, but the stars don't align often enough for me to be able to do what I just did here. There was nobody home tonight, like I mentioned when I started this stream, and I thought I'd make my time productive and useful in some way than just staring at a TV screen on my own, doing nothing except drooling and drinking and passing out later. So whatever. So, all right. So hey, thanks for spending your time to watch and dial in here, right? I know it's like everyone's got lives and things they want to do, and including myself. And I'm glad you're able to join tonight, all 30 of you or so, and talk to you all maybe next time. Keep an eye open for that new product video that's coming out in a few weeks. I'm going to try to, if I can find time is this problem. I'm going to try to get out maybe one more video between now and then. Not sure of the topic, but otherwise, I'll see you in that video or in the happy hour Wednesday. All right. So y'all take care. Cheers, Prost, Skol, Nostrovia, and the like. And I'll see you then.